Our guest is a man who, well, the very blonde and the very Viking-esque Justin Wren. I guess fighting in a cage isn't enough, and he decided to go to one of the most dangerous places in the world and dig wells and try to make a difference for the forgotten and the forsaken and those that have no way to defend themselves and no voice. I was listening and watching your amazing videos on YouTube, and I got to be honest with you, I got a little emotional. When those kids were touching your arm, and when they were touching your hair, and when you were throwing them in the air, and I was watching those men from Uganda and all around that area digging wells for pygmies. And if you guys haven't followed what's happened in the Congo for the past 20 years, you are remiss, because it's very important to understand that there was such concentrated human suffering in that area and continues on. And for a guy like Justin to go in there basically on his own, with just a handful of people, missionaries or whatever it was, and to make a difference is so goddamn inspiring. It was so emotional to me because I've been following it. And here you were, you got on a motorcycle and said, I'm a big blonde guy and I'm not going to fight.
One of my favorite people on planet Earth, Justin Wren.
Dude,
we met on the Ultimate Fighter, set of Ultimate Fighter. We're buddies instantly.
Yeah.
And that's our podcast. Thank you so much, guys, for joining.
Callen's going to try and make this about himself. I'm like, listen, when I was in the Congo, I was drinking tons of water. Listen, pipe down.
I got dysentery.
But let's just backtrack here. So, Ultimate Fighter, you have huge success on the Ultimate Fighter. Most people think you beat Roy Nelson, right? Split decision. Yeah. Epic fight on the Ultimate Fighter. And then you fight John Matson in the finale. Yeah. That goes to another decision, correct? Split decision.
Most people probably thought it was
again,
as well.
Again, it just didn't go your way. Maybe it's a sign. There's something bigger for you out there.
Yeah.
So then where along the lines of the Ultimate Fighter, and then you had a couple fights outside the UFC, where did this kind of the chance to fight for the forgotten, where did this happen? How? Because a lot of people go, listen, I want to make a difference, but we don't even know where to start, right?
Yeah. I would say that, I mean, even before, I don't know if you know, but before I even got into MMA, I was dealing with addiction, depression.
I did know that.
And so, yeah, man, whenever I broke this arm, dislocated it, tore the ulnar collateral ligament, I had to battle with some insurance companies and wait to get the surgery. They wanted me to go to like some ankle and knee doc, and I was like, I'm at the Olympic Training Center. I want to get my elbow fixed by a specialist. And so I had to wait and battle and get that done. So the docs just gave me a ton of pain pills to cope with the pain. It was excruciating. I mean, it was completely torn. Wow. And I had to wait for, I think, close to 6 months. So that's where my addiction set in, was those pain pills.
Opiates.
Opiates, big time.
I like them myself. I gotta be honest.
Brendan, stop enabling.
No, I had a problem with them too. I've spoke openly about
man.
this.
Yeah, with Oxy and all sorts of stuff, bro. Xanax. I mean, it got to other stuff to where I was piggybacking everything I could find, and turned into coke, turned into lots of different drugs. And
you like to party.
I did like to party, man.
A fighter who's extreme? That's weird. I never heard of that.
Yeah.
So you went down that weird road of addiction,
right? And then after the Ultimate Fighter, I even snuck Oxy into the house on the Ultimate Fighter.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I had it in another.
I thought we were better friends than this. You could have shared it.
Can't share.
I was struggling myself.
Yeah, but you were in the competition, you know.
I was.
And once I was knocked out,
flourishing.
I knew that was my safety net of how to escape from having to hang out with the other 15 dudes that were the meatheads, and how to, I don't know, if it could erase an entire day for me, you know, or erase that heartbreaking loss to Roy for me. Josh knows that even the week of the fight against Madsen on the Ultimate Fighter finale, I was using the week of. And so
wow, I didn't know this.
Yeah, man. And so that's why I kind of got, you know, booted from Grudge and everything else. And
I didn't know that.
yeah. And
sounds like you had a crisis, essentially.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And so after that, got my life cleaned up. Me personally found some faith and everything else that kind of helped clean me up. And then with that, 11 months after I was sober, I was like, what more can I do? How can I help? I don't want to focus on myself anymore. This life's not about me. I'm small in this big old world we live in. How can I get involved? Who can I help? And so I went on this journey, found the Congo, and went kind of by myself. I went with another buddy,
Hold up, bro. Someone was just like, "Hey, bro, you wanna go to the Congo?" You're like, "Yeah, I'm not doing shit. I'll jump in the Congo."
Let's go to the
like, how did that happen? Because someone texted me right now, "Hey, man, want to go to the Congo?" I'm like, "Nah, I'm good, man."
Yeah, I'm gonna hang out on the beach.
Is there mosquitoes there? Yes. Nah, I'm good.
Lots of mosquitoes, tons of malaria. But no, I was actually, and this is kind of crazy, and I'll start off this podcast sounding like a nut.
Perfect.
Okay. All right. Here we go.
People
Let's
think
just
we're
start it
crazy
like
too,
that.
man.
Yeah.
Don't worry, you're good.
Right, yeah. So I was just thinking and personally praying, just saying, what would I do with my life? And I lived at the Olympic Training Center. We had sports psychologists there, and they would take us through visualization drills.
Yeah.
And before you step into a fight, you're seeing it in your mind 100 times, 1,000 times before you ever get in there and actually do it.
True.
And so I was kind of just thinking, what can I do with my life? And it happened effortlessly. I had a vision just like those visualization drills, and I saw myself in the forest, as clear as day in my mind. And I know that sounds nuts, but I saw myself in the forest. I'm walking down a path. I hear drums. I get into the village, and I see these people that are singing this beautiful song, but I see like their ribs. I see that they're starving. I know that they don't have clean water. I know that they're hated by the people groups around them. I knew that they were being enslaved.
And this is drug free.
Yeah,
You're
drug-free, 100%,
sober.
11 months sober.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then
You saw this in your vision.
in my vision. And and then the thing that wrecked me, and I know it at first I felt crazy, I promise. I felt like a nut. But something that made it really real to me was, man, I cried a puddle of tears this big. Promise. I've never cried like that in my entire life. Still haven't.
And you're by yourself.
I'm by myself. Yeah. And I'm downstairs, and yeah, I'm just crying about this thing, and it's in my book. It's like the second chapter.
You're such a better person than me, because I would have got those visions. I'm like, I gotta start a rap group. That's what's. I'm a hip hop star.
Well, 3.5 weeks later, it came true. I was there 100%. And the thing that made me cry was I knew that that's where the name comes from. I knew that they were forgotten by people. And then I got there, and 3.5 weeks later, I'm walking down a path. I'm in the forest. I hear the drums. I hear the singing.
Exactly
I see
what you visualized.
Exactly what I visualized. And then maybe 90% of what I visualized. Then I start talking to the chiefs, hearing what's happening. I hear this crazy stuff that like they've watched people and family members be cannibalized, killed, cooked, and eaten.
It's important to give a little background, guys, on what really goes on in the Congo, because I want to get back to your faith and your inspiration and stuff.
And real quick on that was, just so I don't forget, but the chief told me, everyone else calls us the forest people, but we call ourselves the forgotten people. And when that happened, boom, it lit me up, and it was like, this was my vision.
Ignited 100%. A fire, and you're like, I got to fight for these people.
Absolutely.
And guys, just so you know, in Africa, in that area, Zaire was the Congo, and Zaire was held together by a strongman named Siseko Mobutu.
Yep.
When he died, essentially the Congo broke into different factions. The Congo is a very, very mineral-rich area, and
richest
always,
in the planet.
Yeah, the richest in the planet. I mean, what you get in your cell phone, the material you get in your cell, what is it called? Coltan. It's mined there, and it's so everybody who has a cell phone has some mineral. I think typically from the Congo.
Yeah, 80% at least.
Right, and it's dug typically by hand,
by slaves, or rebel leaders and warlords that control the area.
And so what happened was, not only was there a civil war based on who was going to control Zaire, but more importantly, there were factions that were making a lot of money off of control of those different mineral mines. And so a warlord would hire a bunch of guys, couldn't find enough soldiers, would go into a village and literally conscript by force a bunch of children, put them on drugs, give them a gun, etc., etc. Add to that, if you go back, some of the worst, most concentrated killing in history was in Rwanda, when the Tutsis and Hutu moderates were killed by Hutu extremists to the tune of 800,000 by machete.
In 100 days.
In 100 days. Now think about that. In 100 days, about 800,000 people killed. Men, women, and children, mostly women and children, entire villages. They would leave one alive, and those guys who did that killing would go into the forest. So now what you have is in the Congo, an area the size of Western Europe, by the way. We're talking about an area the size of Western Europe. Sorry to give a quick history lesson, because I want to get back to it. But it's important. It's important to just give a little background of where he went, because listen,
I know, it's so dangerous.
In many ways, this area is considered the most dangerous area in the world because you have these roving bands of maniacs.
And did you know that when you decided to embark on this mission, did you know how dangerous it was going to be? Well, like, I'm sure people warned you. Obviously, malaria is a huge issue. I think it's killed more human beings than anything, correct?
Yeah, I think that's what Joe told me, and I didn't know that stat. It's crazy.
You know that? Malaria has killed more humans than anything.
I also know dirty water is something crazy that we can get into that too, but 5,000 kids every day under the age of 5 years old die because of dirty water.
5,000
a day
in the Congo.
Dysentery,
not just in Congo,
like
all over the world.
Yeah.
But it's like over 3 million people.
So
and I believe, Justin, I'm not sure if you have the stats on this, but I think in the Congo in the past 15 years, I think over 1 million people. I think it might be 2.5 million.
No, it's 6 million.
It's 6 million people.
Yeah.
So I've heard the estimates
rivaling the
of
Holocaust.
2.5, but now if you're saying 6 million, that's how many people have died. Think about that, you guys.
And when I say rivaling the Holocaust, that's other people saying that, like big outlets like BBC and New York Times,
credible
and
sources,
like that, credible sources that are saying that the deaths because of the conflict and because of the effects of conflict, the sickness, the disease, everything that comes with it is literally rivaling the Holocaust. But even before that, you're given a great history lesson. I didn't know you knew all that crazy or all those stats. Like it's great. But even before that, King Leopold took over the country, and there's a book called King Leopold's Ghost. Yeah, bro. And there was 20 million people in the Congo because of King Leopold and the rubber boom, and the ivory trade. He said he was saving Congo, but he murdered his guys. 8 to 10
They think it was half the population.
Half the population.
Yeah. They were forced to work until they died.
So they call that the African Holocaust.
Yeah. So when
it happened before.
So Leopold was a Dutch king, right? I think he was from Holland.
Or Belgian.
Belgian. I'm sorry. Exactly.
So when you touched down in the Congo, I'm stressed out talking about this. What was the first course of action? Where do you even start?
Oh, the first was just a scouting trip. That vision, everything else is like just go see. Because so many people go already thinking they have the answer to the problem. And it's like you can't just go there and just because you're from the West, you tell them what to do and how to do it, and you just show up, blow up, and blow out of there. And like get your pictures and go home and feel good about yourself. My whole goal, and I'm not saying that's a terrible thing to do, but well, actually sometimes it hurts more than it helps. But my whole goal is to get there, see the problem, see the people, become friends with them. And it turned into us becoming family. And man, I just wrecked. The first time I left, I felt like I did nothing good except for I got to meet them, hang out, build some relationships.
Weird how human they are, though, Justin. Right? Did you find? Were you blown away with how fucking similar they were to everybody you know as far as children?
Absolutely. And this is what's nuts. They're so awesome, so amazing, so sweet, so loving, like such family oriented. But the neighboring tribes, we call them the Makpala, and that means non-pygmies. But the people around them literally believe of them as to be animals, or half man, half animal.
Really?
That's why they're cannibalized, like literally killed, cooked, and eaten.
Yeah, if you eat, there was this rumor going around among the soldiers that if you eat a pygmy, a child under 5's heart, if you eat his heart, you are invincible. You will never get AIDS or anything else.
So you saw all this.
I didn't see the actual cannibalism, but I've seen pictures of child soldiers walking around with a pygmy heart and biting into it. I've seen limbs being carried around. Not physically saw it, but pictures.
It's a ring of hell. It's a form of hell on Earth.
Yeah, without a doubt. And some of the soldiers believe you can, when you say become invincible, like the bullets will fly right through you. Mm-hmm. They'll drink from their skulls. I'm talking about, we work in 10 different villages, and 35 kilometers from where we were, they were killing, cooking, and eating pygmies. I know a man that said he watched his nephew be killed, cooked, barbecued, and his nephew's wife was kicked to her knees, had a machine gun put to her head, and she was force-fed her own husband. Yep. The most evil thing I could ever imagine.
Well, you get sadistic, you get sadism and insanity and madness on a scale that's never. It's kind of Hearts of Darkness. It's Joseph Conrad's Hearts of Darkness. I mean,
you know so much about this. It's great.
I'm obsessed with it. Actually, I'm obsessed with anytime you hear that scale of human suffering. You guys have to read a little bit so you can suffer a little bit, lose some sleep. lose some sleep over the fact that people are suffering so badly. I think it's important. It's
I
why I care about it.
So when you see this and then you come back to the States, you're like, I gotta do something.
I was wrecked. Yeah, I'm like, my life would never be the same. And like it honestly, it's easier just to turn a blind eye or to not think about it or to say it's too big of a problem, I can't do anything. And I've had those thoughts like cross my mind in the early stages because I was like, what am I gonna do? You know, I'm just one dude, and I'm a small dude. I mean, I guess I'm a big dude, but
you're a large man.
Yeah,
compared to the Congo, you're a very small man.
Yeah, exactly. And 74 million people that live in the Congo, and
74 million.
74 million, and most of them live on less than $1 a day.
So how do you put a plan together to make a difference?
Well, good people, and I know that sounds weird, but the second time I went, I met people at a university there.
How much time's in between the first and the second, though?
9 or 10 months in between that, and all I could think about, literally, I lost sleep, and I would just research the pygmies, research the Congo. I found a passion to like find out everything about it that I could.
Joseph Kony's out there, isn't he? Is he still roaming? He's still roaming.
He's going back and forth. He was in Uganda, the Invisible Children thing that has like over 1 billion views and stuff. Or Kony 2012. He went from Uganda into Congo and is hiding out in between Congo and Central Africa.
And who is this guy?
Joseph Kony is a warlord. He's a warlord who created, I believe, the Lord's Resistance Army, which was essentially, and he was an altar boy who went crazy. He's obviously delusional. He was from Uganda. And remember, again, Uganda, by the way, another country, was in a civil war for 30 years. So he essentially became a warlord who lived in the forest and has never really been caught. And he was responsible for horrific war crimes, like
abducting something like 20 or 30,000 child soldiers.
One of the biggest assholes. Like he and Genghis Khan have a special place in hell. Yeah. But I want to go back, Justin, to your your faith. Because one of the things I heard somebody talking about was like, we live in an age where it's really, really fun to make fun of people who have faith. Right. I'm not a very religious person, but I'm always very careful not to, because I heard somebody said, religion is not about, it's not about fundamentalism, the idea of, I have the truth. What religion also is about inspiration. And it sounds to me like you found the courage and inspiration through whatever the faith was, whatever sort of awakening you had. And that's what I always think people forget, is how important it is that guys like you who find some faith in God say, you know what, there's something way bigger than me. This isn't about me, and I'm going to go to the Congo and do this.
How did your faith not waver, though, seeing these kids getting, cannibalized, suffering, right?
Yeah.
Good question.
Like, to me, I would get there and I'm like, well, why am I so fortunate? And these kids are suffering.
First of all, you are a very emotional guy, so you'd be crying.
I couldn't do it.
You'd be crying the whole time.
Oh, we all know this. I couldn't do it.
Yeah.
I wish I could.
Yeah. Well, so I would say that my personal faith, man, like, I guess I'll lay it out there, throw it out there a little bit, is basically just love God and love people. Like, that's what Jesus said was the most important thing. The religious people that, honestly, I think is 80, 90, 95% of the American culture of religion falls in the category of the people Jesus fought against.
Well, he said, I think he said basically, if you really want to be follow me, just do unto others as you have them do unto you.
Right.
Literally that simple.
Yeah. And love the least of these, and love, feed people. I mean, just help, get involved, love people, love God, love people. And so, as Fight for the Forgotten, we're focused on really helping people in a practical, tangible way that will change their lives and save lives.
Digging wells.
And so, land, water, and food initiatives.
So when you came back the second time, let's get back to your mission here. So you came back the second time, the plan was to start digging wells?
No, the second time I came was really, again, it was like, okay, I need a game plan again. How, the first time just wrecked me. I need to spend more time with them. And so the second trip was, I wrote down 4 things to do: live with, listen to, learn from, and then from those things, I'll know how to love them. Because so many people, like I said, they go there with a plan of action already, but you got to get on their level. So I wanted to live with them, experience their culture, find out what the suffering really is about, to suffer with them, to share in that suffering. And if I can experience it, and if I can listen to them, instead, I've watched it, so many NGOs and stuff go into these villages and say, you're not doing this, you're not doing that, wash your hands before you eat, and make them feel like they're these dumb people, and they're not. They're brilliant. Maybe they didn't go to school, but they know their
forest.
Different. Golly, they're brilliant people. Yeah. And so you listen to them, and they're actually going to tell you what they really need help with, and they probably know better than what we know.
Mm-hmm.
And so then I can learn from them, and then we're like, okay, now I can love them. But the thing, like you said, challenged a lot of stuff was, man, I got wrecked because on the second trip, there's this little dude named Andy Bo, and he's 1.5 years old, and he got denied hospital treatment, not once, but twice. First time his mom walked to the hospital, the nurses and doctors said, "You're too dirty to come in here," because she's a pygmy. And she goes, "Can you give him the medicine?" It was a one pill, or pills were the treatment. Or a one-shot cure, and it was $1 for the pills, $3 for the injection. And they said, "Do you have money?" And she goes, "I'm a slave. I don't get paid in money." And they said, "Well, then no, go away." And so second time they came back, the whole village, like over 100 people, literally they begged, and they found everything they could. They scrapped together $3.50 worth of Congolese franc. And they came back to the hospital. They had a chicken. They had close to 24 eggs. They had a bag of charcoal. They had firewood. And they came back to the hospital. And again, they said the real reason this time, because they had no excuse to not give Andy Bo the treatment.
Yeah.
And the second time was, "We won't waste our medicine on a pygmy animal." And they turned them away.
Damn.
And we were in another village. We don't have cell service. And so anyways, and we're coming back, and we hear that this kid's sick. He's dying and all this other stuff. We get there. He had just died. I had cut my hand under his head. A little bit of blood trickled out of his ears, and just wrecked me. That's 3 days before I left the second time. They started digging the grave, and I'm like, you know what? We can help. You know, like a starving slave doesn't need to dig a grave. You know, like if I'm there and my body's able to do it, like I can at least help. You know, I can share in that suffering that they're going through. And so I had blisters on my hands from digging his grave, and the mother couldn't even cry because I thought she was in shock, or I thought like something was going on. Her husband had already died of waterborne disease. So did her other son. Now she's all alone. She's sitting there topless in her hut, and literally I could see every like rib attaching to her sternum because she was that malnourished. And so we got her a mango, passion fruit juice, rice, and a tilapia. And it wasn't but 15-20 minutes after she had the mango and the sugars from the passion fruit juice that all of a sudden she had the energy to sob, to actually produce a tear, to cry.
Jesus,
and
man.
so then she just lost it, you know.
Yeah.
But at first she
Isn't
couldn't.
it interesting how racism is so alive and well, even in Africa, among blacks?
Yeah.
How tribal we are as human beings.
Yeah.
How even in Africa you're short and you live in a forest, and therefore you're an animal because you're different.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
so it's so dangerous down there. Obviously for them with the water, mosquitoes.
Yeah.
I mean, it had to affect you. Because
Yeah, I've
we
gotten sick
see
several
shows, and I
times.
hate to freaking take it here, but you
No,
see
you're right.
Naked and Afraid where people, you know, it's in a controlled environment. And it's two naked white people. They get tore up by mosquitoes.
It kicks your ass.
And
Dude,
bugs.
And
So
our
you have to
team-
be. And first of all, what are you wearing when you're there? Are you
Yeah.
just
Loincloth.
are you
Look at
balls
him,
out?
he's Tarzan. His
You
hair,
balls out?
His hair and his
I've-
beard
I've-
protect him.
I've worn a leaf a couple times, just as a joke.
You should though.
Yeah.
You
It's a
gotta-
big leaf,
Yeah.
guys. It's a big
No,
leaf.
I think I blind them whenever I come out. I'm so pasty white.
Yeah,
I'm like the
you need
vanilla-
sunblock.
vanilla gorilla.
You stand in that sun.
So what? So you have to
hairy.
worry about mosquitoes in
Oh
the
yeah,
water and
I got
stuff
malaria. It almost killed me
from a mosquito.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the mosquito kicked my butt almost took me out more than.
You take
any other
quinine,
thing.
or they have different drugs now?
Oh, dude, quinine is terrible.
Yeah.
It's like banned in most countries now
Yeah.
and stuff, and it's
It's
brutal.
rough.
Yeah, so I was told by a doctor that's on the board of tropical medicine that if I'm going to be doing this, because this is a lifelong thing for me. It's
Yeah,
not
man, this isn't a
temporary.
one-time.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
it's not a few years. Like
Yeah.
I'll be taking my grandkids there, I believe, and like introducing them to my pygmy family's grandkids. You know, it's gonna be
Yeah.
awesome. And
God,
but-
one side's going to be giant, the other side's going to be very small. How tall are pygmies? Typically 4 feet.
the average height for a man is 4'7".
What? How about
Yeah.
that? That's why they call them pygmies, brother.
Yeah, you know what? Yeah.
The Congo has more genetic diversity than you can imagine. Man.
Dang, I had no idea.
Yeah, they got other guys.
So
Like,
you're
some of
like-
our, some of
you're
our
like
well drilling team
Godzilla
is
up
6'5". Yeah, some of my well drilling team, Shalom Drillers, we Drillers for Peace.
Oh yeah, Kenyans, those Kenyans,
They're like
those
6'5". And
Easy.
and I mean, yeah. And so it's like crazy because there's these cultures, these tribes that like they're so.
You go to the
different in
Sudan, you
size
got
and-
7-footers easily.
Exactly. Well, the tribe I'm talking about with our Congo guys, they're from that tribe, the Aru, and Sudan, Uganda, and Congo.
So you see this pain and suffering, and then you see this kid die in your hands.
Yeah.
And then what's
Messed me up.
for me?
So from-
it's hard for me to how to kind of comprehend here how you put together a game plan to make a difference.
Right. Still, I felt like, how can I make a difference? I don't think I'm good enough, big enough, strong enough, smart enough to do it. But I came back and like, man, whenever you come back and you're able to just turn a faucet and drink clean water, or you're able to take a dump in what they would love to drink, you know, because it's clean water.
Yeah.
And I know that sounds bad how I just said that, but
No, but water is fucking. You know, we shit in clean water in this country, where clean water is such a precious commodity. It's crazy. Like you have to usually go march a mile or two, put the water on your head, and carry it back.
Yeah, and what I would do whenever we go into a new village was I would always go with the women on the water walk that they go on, because I want to learn. I want to figure out what they have to go through, and so I would take my team on it too. And sometimes it'd be a 45-minute, an hour hike, and you take a 20-liter jerry can with you. That whenever that's full, it weighs 44 pounds.
And the women are carrying
Put it on their head,
Women
right?
That literally, none of them weigh 100 pounds. None of them. And some of them carrying 2. And I have pictures of some of the men, and we're giving them filaria worm treatment because it's parasites. I've gotten it too. It's crazy. It can cause river blindness. And anyways, we're giving them the treatment, and I was having to put the men, the hunters, on the scale, and a lot of them were just 60 pounds, 70 pounds.
70-pound men.
Yeah, and
That's
they're the master hunters, you know? And so, and then the women, some of them are taking, and some of them were like 80, 85, 90, but then some of the women are carrying 2 of these jerry cans back on an hour hike, and the water they went to get wasn't even clean.
It's dirty water.
It's dirty
So
water
they're
that's going
boiling
to
it?
kill them. No. Just think about the practicality of like having to boil every single thing that you're going to drink, and you're in a hot, humid forest.
Good luck getting a fire going.
Right.
Yeah,
And
Rains all the time, right?
Yeah, it does. But they really protect the fire a lot and make sure that it stays lit. But even boiling that water, we'll do it for ourselves, but man, it doesn't cool off, and ash gets all inside of it and everything else. Like for them, it's just easier to drink the dirty water.
And risk it.
And if you think every single day, every drink you're going to drink, and then it's hot, it's not refreshing.
So
Crocodiles in that water?
Yeah.
So as you fully submerge into this
Can be in
environment,
certain areas.
so when you fully submerge, what's your diet like? What are we talking about? What are you eating
rice, beans, and we would bring that from the city.
Yeah, they don't cultivate rice there, do they? No.
They can.
So
but
rice,
the pygmies aren't.
But they're
rice,
carnivorous
beans,
primarily,
I've eaten a lot of different bushmeat, birds, monkey. That was before the Ebola crisis, and I didn't know that monkey gives you Ebola.
Yeah.
But I ate some monkey. It was actually delicious.
monkey brain or
No,
muscle?
it was like the femur.
Oh, wow.
Or
Yeah.
not the bone, but
Gotta go to the femur,
the
bro.
thigh.
Gotta go to the thigh.
Gotta eat that
Thigh and the
monkey.
haunch for me.
I'll
Let's
eat
go.
that.
That was, they were so thankful for us coming in there, and so we had acquired land. We knew we couldn't give them water without giving them land first, right? And so similar to what we did to the Native Americans and took their land, pushed them off, everything else. That's what's happened in the Congo to the pygmies. They're the first citizens of Congo, yet they didn't have any land of their own. And so what we wanted to do is go in there, petition, lobby through the locals. That's our method. Like I'm the outsider. I'm the white dude. I'm the American. But everyone we invest in is local. That's our mission. We want to inspire and empower and train up and teach the locals how
It's
they
the
can
only
be
way,
their
isn't it?
own-
It's the only way because they stay
their own
there.
problem.
And when you
yeah.
say we in team, how many? What's this team?
I have 17 full-time employees in the Congo. And
All white people? All gringos?
all Congolese nationals. They graduated from a university there. Half of them graduated from it's called Shalom University, and it's anyways, they have an awesome school of community development that's all about practical. It's all about how can we advance our lives, because it's the most underdeveloped country on the planet. Least roads, least water, least housing, least money, all that different stuff. So we're like, how can we train the locals to be their own solution. I learned a lot of this from Water 4. Now Fight for the Forgotten. We're partnered with water4.org. It's the number 4. And their whole thing is not about charity. It's about opportunity. Instead of going in and treating people like a charity case and that you give them a handout, how can you go to them and create an opportunity for them to come out of their own suffering?
Teach them how to fish.
Exactly, educate them. So what we did was we went to this school, and it's like, hey, you got a great community development program, but your guys are graduating and they don't get a job in community development.
Yeah.
They go and they do some kind of business thing. They suffer. They make less than $1 a day. They're college graduates. They have a master's degree. Half our team has a master's degree. And they couldn't find jobs. And we're like, okay, who's the good ones? How can we send them to the forest? How can we make sure that they fall in love with the pygmies, that they've already been out there? And so we've gone through like 20 people that couldn't hack it because it's a tough life out there in the forest. And then, but the people that have survived and made it through and are passionate with this, we give them jobs.
I was watching them dig the well.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of technical stuff that goes into
absolutely.
it. How deep are those wells? Yeah.
So we've had Water 4 and their team have taken 6 different trips to Congo just to train my team. And they're in 31 different countries, but they're coming out there teaching them hydrology, geology, how to protect the well with sanitation.
Yeah, because a lot of the water can be full of arsenic and different kinds of poisons.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right?
We got to test it. We got to make sure we get to not sometimes there can be a hard layer and it could be groundwater that's there. And if you just get the groundwater, there's all sorts of contaminants in it, and you might think it's clean. It might be clear, but you drink it, it's still got the microscopic parasites you can't see, or the bacteria, or the E. coli, or cholera,
or poison,
or whatever, and typhoid, other things that can kill you. And so what we do is make sure we get to a clean aquifer that's got a great recharge rate, and that we can backfill it and protect it to where it's going to last for a long time. And we train the locals, that our team, how to repair any wells if there are any problems. Because a lot of NGOs, they go in there and they bring all these Americans over or whatever, and they go and they drill a $5,000, $10,000, $20,000 water well that the second it breaks, no one has the money to fix it. No one has the knowledge to fix it.
Yeah,
that was always a problem.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so we do a method that they know how to fix it. It's safe. It's UNICEF approved, USAID approved. All the major NGOs have their stamp of approval on it.
So what's your team doing right now?
We 2 days ago we celebrated our 25th water well. So and so
That's
it's just
pretty
awesome. And now we have 2 well drilling teams. When I was there, we did 13. And now what's so cool is having an exit strategy in place to where, I know it sounds crazy because I already said I'm there lifelong committed. But at the same time, there's got to be a point where the outsider, the Westerner, the whoever, humanitarian, takes a step back and says, "Hey, it's time to fly on your own wings."
Yeah,
crucial. We're gonna encourage you.
That's what they said about. They were talking about charity. There's a book called The Science of Getting Rich. It was written in 1900. I never forgot the quote. He said, "I don't believe in charity. Charity, a loaf of bread keeps somebody in their misery a little longer. I believe in inspiration, and the poor need inspiration, and they need know-how."
Wow,
it's really true, isn't it? I mean,
it's so good. That's such a great point, because whenever you go in there and treat someone like a charity case, you make them feel like they can't do anything for themselves.
That's right. Learn helplessness.
You rob them of their dignity.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, what man wants to feel like, okay, here comes the Westerner, the American, the white dude, or whatever, and I can't help myself, so I have to depend on him, and he's got a family to provide.
The word you just used, dignity, is what people have always said is that human history has essentially been a quest for dignity. All peoples want dignity.
Yeah.
Dignity is as endemic to human nature and to our overriding need as anything. And what you're talking about is exactly that, is empowering people.
Now, what's to stop someone from coming in and just destroying all this? Because obviously, I'm sure a lot of people in the Congo aren't your biggest fan.
I'm
sure there's a lot of people.
He's not the enemy, though. Right? You know what I mean?
Well, I know he's not the enemy, but he's trying to help these people.
And
so I'm sure they want to cook you and eat you. Let's be real here.
White blonde meat isn't.
No, I bet it's delicious.
Oh, jeez.
Well, I'm saying for them, not for me.
No. The threat is definitely those roving.
There has to be a threat for you.
Absolutely. There's been some dangerous times, but what we've done is strategically through the locals that know what's up. That knows the culture, knows what will work, won't work. We go at a slow pace, even though we've done 25 water wells, everything else. We've gotten 2,470 acres legally purchased, petitioned, lobbied in the name of the Pygmies.
Nice.
We were going to get it in the name of Fight for the Forgotten, but we would have gotten a 5-year certificate. And then we would have had to pay a bunch of fees every 5 years. And the government can take it away if you don't develop it and all this other stuff. And it would have been more expensive. So I was like, well, I don't need it in my name. I don't need it in the organization's name. Like, really, all it's important is it being in their name. So then we looked at exploring having the university there as the caretakers of the land and in their name. But then it was going to be a 25-year certificate. And then it was like, the corruption, everything else. We'd have to pay the full price again at 25 years. And so we looked at what you said, that tribes are what's so important. That's where their dignity comes from, or their pride, everything else. If they got nothing there, but they have their pride or their tribe that they're from, that's really important to them. And so in Congo court, the strongest thing you can do is buy land in the name of a people group, because then it's passed down from generation to generation to generation. And so what you said is, how do you protect it from people coming in and stealing it? Luckily, we've selected land. Congo's huge. We've selected land that is far off from any gold mines, diamonds, coltan, any kind of the first atomic bombs and everything dropped was from uranium from Congo.
Yeah, isn't that crazy?
It's nuts. They said that they have $25 or $27 trillion.
It should be the richest country in the world
of gold.
It should
just
be
gold.
Yeah,
we could pay off the United States debt.
It should be the richest country in the world without question.
Yeah.
And instead, it's the poorest.
Right.
It's been at the beckon. It's been an extractionist economy. Yeah. Everybody has gone in and extracted from those people.
I've seen it. I've seen it
use
where
them as
it's
slaves.
either. I've seen the rebels that control the mines, and I've also seen major UK, United States, Chinese corporations that go in there that set up these like military style bases that use all the locals to dig the gold and diamonds and stuff like that. But then they're just sitting there with like mercenaries that protect it and everything from the rebel groups and stuff. Yeah. It's nuts. But so what we do is we select land way off the nearest quote unquote road. And it's an hour hike off of it. It's a 3-hour hike off the nearest road.
Thank God. Say hide in the forest. In
exactly.
Other words.
Hide them away to where you can't get there. First off, you don't know where people don't know where it is really. You don't have a reason to go there unless you're looking for them.
Yeah.
Unless you know how to get there, unless you know us to get you there.
And it's not easy to get there.
No. Were you near Goma? Were you near Goma?
Yeah, I've gone to Goma several times, man. It's a crazy place.
That's where some terrible things happen.
Crazy.
Anthony Bourdain said it's the scariest, most dangerous place he could ever imagine.
Yeah.
Why?
Goma's where all Joseph Kony was so active. Goma was where so many of those atrocities happened.
Yeah, so the M23 is the most recent rebel group that took it over, and it's a 1 million person city. It's the capital of the East. Eastern Congo is nuts. I think it's 38 different active warring rebel groups just control different areas of Congo.
And you're just hanging out here.
Listen, man.
It's like Hall Notes. You're just chilling.
You know what he looks like? He looks like a very, very thick and strong Jesus. Yeah, and just like a blonde Viking
Triton
Jesus
or something.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah, yeah.
Like,
hello, everybody.
you look like Hercules. I'm not going to sugarcoat
his hair is hurting my eyes. It's so bright in the sun.
I'm for sure eating you first.
The golden boy.
This is obvious.
I didn't. When I saw Justin, I didn't think of him as appetizing. I just see him as.
Well,
if I'm in the Congo and I see this big ass roaming around.
Hey, bro. Enough with your cannibalistic fantasies, man.
Something crazy on that. I used to drink Jameson a lot.
Yeah, you did. I thought you were going to say blood.
Yeah, I did a lot.
Yeah, that was your drink of choice.
Drink of choice. Yeah. And I always wonder why it made me so crazy. But a crazy fact that's I think is verified, and people. I was on the JRE show and with Joe, and fans like posted a bunch of links like confirming it. But I think it was James Jameson. He went to the Congo. Died in the Congo of malaria, and he literally like bought a like 12-year-old girl or something from a tribe, gave her to a cannibalistic tribe, and like made paintings and drew sketches of her being cooked and
sounds like a nice guy.
Jesus, man,
what a dick.
Good job of getting I mean, I'm glad he.
That's where a friendship
got
ends for me,
malaria.
where I'm like, you did that. I can't be friends with you
I
anymore.
can't drink your drink, man.
Yeah, I know. Dude, I've never drank it again.
Jameson's
Actually, I haven't
dead to
really
me.
been since there.
So,
Yeah.
but you're alcohol free now and drug free, or what are we talking about here?
Yeah, man, I'm sober. So
Dead sober.
How do you feel about your fight coming up?
Well, let's talk about why you decided to start fighting again. Why
Yeah.
why Bellator? Obviously, it's a huge organization.
Yeah.
Why after all this you're like, hey, let's stop fighting in the Congo and let's start fighting on TV? Why?
Yeah, I would say I would never said let's stop fighting.
I'm not gonna say
Like,
stop,
I
but
know that.
but
I
you're
know that.
gonna have to go into training camp.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And so that was a tough thing for me because I always said I could or thought I can only do one or the other. I mean, because being a full-time fighter is a full-time job. You're
Full-time
training-
gig.
I mean, I don't know how many. I've hung around some NFL guys, been buddies with them, and it seems I could be misspeaking right now, but it seems they train maybe once a day, 4 or 5 days a week.
Completely different gig, yeah. Completely
and we're
different
training
gig.
2-3 times a day,
Yeah,
6
different
days
animal.
a week. And I'm not saying like they're not incredible athletes because they are, but ours just takes up so much more time.
So much
You got to
more.
learn so much more. And so I'm like, I can't do it. I'm not going to trade my family there. I'm not going to do that to fight. But I was just wrestling around with it because my wife started to support the idea, asking me about what do you think about fighting again? That would give you a platform to
We're
tell
gonna get to
people
your
what
wife
we're doing.
next. We'll
Okay.
get to her
All right.
next, but keep going.
She's a little hottie.
Yeah, no, I've seen pictures.
Yeah,
By man.
yeah, but she was saying these are both your passions, and I thought I had to do one or the other. But now I'm like, what if I could do both passions? And if the fighting thing, maybe I got 5-7 years left. I'm 28, so maybe 7 years. 35, maybe beyond.
It's a lot of fighting, my man. But yeah,
It's
I think it's such a great idea though in a lot of ways because it makes you so damn marketable and it's such a great dichotomy. It's like it makes you so much more lovable.
well, it's not even
thank you,
about
man.
that, which is
Yeah.
great. I think that's great, but I think one's gonna help the other.
Yeah,
right? Like
and
now
it'll
this
set
gives
that
you a
up long-term,
platform.
lifelong.
It's going to set up the platform for the fight for the forgotten. Be like, hey, check this out, man. Because Bellator on Viacom and Spike, it's huge.
Yeah,
So you
exactly.
can say, hey, check me out. This is what I'm doing. So
Yeah.
you're using it to get the message out.
Absolutely.
Because if you're just a retired fighter, it's going to be tough, man, to get that out.
Yeah,
Let's
exactly.
be honest.
Exactly. Well, this is what's nuts. I'm here with you guys. I was on Joe's show, and today I was in LA doing NBC. I'm doing ABC later, and CBS. Also, like, it's
love
crazy,
it.
and it's just because I'm getting back into fighting.
Yeah.
And like, if that can be a tool,
Yes.
just
You're
like
fighting for somebody. You're fighting for something
Yeah.
bigger. I hate to say
Exactly.
it sounds cliche, but
Yeah.
in a way,
No,
Yeah.
it's true.
No,
do you
it's-
think? What do you think? What would you like to see Americans do? Is there anything that? Because Brennan and I always talk about this. There's so many problems in the world. Congo being a blinding problem. But it's so overwhelming because I don't have time to get on a motorcycle.
I
and
also
go.
don't trust anyone. Like when people say, hey, donate here,
Oh,
is
yeah,
my
it's-
money really going to go to Hades?
Yeah.
Is it really going to help it out?
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
I
It's
agree
hard to
with
do.
that. It's brutal. I used to never really give to anything because I'm like, I don't want to. So I have to like personally know somebody and like really believe in what they're doing.
I got to
before
know what's
give.
going on, man.
Sure.
Yeah, I agree.
Sure.
And be able to see the impact, see what's going on, all that other stuff. Because a lot of times you get left in the dark. So I would say first and foremost, like I would want people to know, like, I'm torn because like, yes, please help me and my pygmy family, but at the same time, help wherever you are. Like love where you're at, and like if
It might be a Congolese problem too, right? In other words,
Right.
it's almost like up to the people there and whatever they're going through to kind of figure it out on their own.
Yeah.
To an extent, I don't know.
Well, that does nothing. So
this
basically
is
do
the thing.
nothing is what-
No, not do nothing.
This is-
but there's a way to help, and there's also a way not to help.
Well,
There's-
if I
there's a-
get so, let's say for the Fight Forgotten, we'll give you a
Yeah.
website. Let's say I donate $1,000. What's that do?
Dude, that's $2,500 will drill a well, drill a water well that will be in a clean, a place providing clean water where they've never had
And
clean
that's a
water
guarantee.
before. Guarantee,
100% guarantee.
100%, man, 100%. What's been so cool about at least how we set it up first and foremost and everything and how it's going to continue is I've never touched anything that's ever come in for Fight for the Forgotten. It's always gone straight to the cause. Been for well drilling equipment, the trucks, the team there. Now it will go to my well drilling team. Like it's going to provide a job for them to be able to provide for their family and everything else. But it's going to the people that actually need the help, and it's going to drill the wells, give people clean water, buy more land, do the farming.
We have a
project.
commitment from the Firing Kid. We'll donate for sure.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much.
Brendan is. I'm selfish.
Yeah, there you go. No, that's
No,
but,
for reals though. I know it's a joke,
Obviously.
but we will actually donate.
Yeah, of
Yeah.
course. We'll talk
But-
about it.
I would say there's a
No, I mean
awesome,
on the podcast too, and try to maybe get something going. Guys, we're trying to raise $5 million.
There you go. No, but people can find out at fightfortheforgotten.org. But what's a crazy quote to me now, and I didn't know why it was such a big saying, like a Congolese proverb, African proverb, but they'd always say that if you feel like you're too small to make a difference, try sleeping in a closed room with a mosquito. And I know that sounds
so legit
point.
Yeah. And
That's
then
funny.
And
Those
then
things are tough,
right.
man.
Yeah,
And then after I got malaria that almost killed me, I mean, I lost 33 or 34 pounds in 5 days. I was vomiting red and green. It was blood and bile.
That's a good time.
That's tough.
I had something called black water fever. It's another side effect of
There's
of
just so
malaria.
many vicious things
Yeah.
you can get down
And so
there.
I
I've
didn't
even heard of them.
I didn't urinate for 5 full days, and whenever I finally did, my veins were collapsing. They tried to do 3 or 4 IVs over here, couldn't get it. I had whelps and knots underneath because my veins were collapsing. 4 or 5 over here. They finally got it in this like kind of fire hose vein. But I mean, I lost my peripheral vision. I was dying, and they got me out of Congo and into Uganda. And so all of a sudden, that quote to me, that proverb of like, if you think you're too small to make a difference, like try sleeping in a closed room with a mosquito.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's what I hope everyone who's listening
Well,
to this
mosquito
now.
nets, they always say. Like, I think the Gates Foundation invested in mosquito nets. Sounds like a simple thing, but made a fucking huge difference in
absolutely.
stopping malaria because kids
Yeah.
would sleep.
Yeah, without a doubt. I've seen kids die of malaria. I've held 2 children. I've buried them. I've been to 5 funerals. I've seen the grave of probably 8 or 9 others. All of them, of those, were basically waterborne disease, and a couple were
Preventable
malaria.
diseases.
Preventable stuff.
Yeah.
And so it's like, what I hope everyone gets from that quote, at least me saying it, is you can make a difference. You're not too small. Yeah. And if you want to help me make a difference, you can do all sorts. You can donate, but you can create buzz. You can let people know. You can tell people about the pygmies. But if you want to do something else, like just do something, right? Like it doesn't have to be helping me, although I would love it. But fightfortheforgotten.org, water4.org, like those are great places.
Fightfortheforgotten.org, water the number 4. Okay.
We'll tweet all this
I have
out.
a question. I have a question for you. Josh Doer, who wrote a book called Moonwalking with Einstein about like memory and stuff, lived with the pygmies
Really?
in Congo. Yes.
Wow.
For a while, and told me that they smoke copious amounts of weed. Did you run into that?
Yeah, in some places.
Did you smoke a lot of doobies?
I didn't there.
No,
I was sober, man.
But they do smoke a lot of weed, don't they?
Yeah, in certain villages, yeah. It depends because their former masters would pay them in that instead of paying them in food.
God, what are we talking
This
about?
is 2015, brother, and suffering is real.
Hey, did any of the pygmy women kind of, like the big man?
That's actually a good question, Brendan Schaub.
Question.
It's an inappropriate question,
It
but
really
I appreciate the
question.
question.
I'm just trying to see what kind
Let's switch gears here.
I was an engaged and married dude, so no.
Because I feel like if you cheat in the Congo, it's not cheating. I just somehow feel like it's so far away.
It's almost community service.
It is.
Yeah.
I was almost always surrounded by my team, my guys, and
no, I get that.
Yeah, we get that. Hey, Justin, we get that, but we're just asking.
None of them were ever like, "Hey, what's up, Gringo?" Nothing.
Well, they didn't say Gringo because that's Spanish.
Well, you know what I mean, though.
Mzungu.
You know what I mean,
Mexico.
White guy.
It's Mzungu. And,
Mzungu.
Yeah. And so, my pygmy name is Efeosa Mabutimangbo.
Oh, wow.
F-A-S o Mabutimang
Bo.
Mabuti man. So Mabuti man.
Mabutimangbo.
And what's that mean?
Yeah, Efeosa is the name my family gave me.
Efeosa.
And that was the name I got right before Andy Bo happened, and that's when I was like, if I'm gonna be Efeosa to them, I'm gonna get involved. I'm gonna do this. But Efeosa means the man who loves us.
Ooh.
So that's
pretty cool.
Yeah, that's
so then where does your girlfriend come to? Well, fiance, wife now, right?
Mabutimangbo means the big pygmy. And so that's where my fight name now is.
Mabutimangbo, the big
pygmy.
So I might look like a Viking, was called the Viking, but I'm just
he was the Viking
at
for
heart.
a very long time. So. You do look like a Viking.
To see those children touching the hair on your arms.
So then where did you meet your now wife?
How
did this go down? Because she has to be a special lady to put up all this.
Yeah, without a doubt.
So I told my girl, "Hey, we're going to the Congo." She's like, "No, no, I'm good."
It's kind of funny. We met online. Met online.
I've heard a lot. I know a lot of people got married offline.
Yeah, 60% of relationships happen online. So there's no reason.
You cut through a lot of red tape because you can figure out what you guys are into.
Yeah,
so you were on like
met
JDate or FarmersOnly.com or something?
Farmers Only.
Was it really?
JDate is for
I knew it.
No, not Farmers Only. But what was nuts was our first real conversations and everything were about the name. Was about the name Fight for the Forgotten. I'd just gotten back from Congo for 1 month. I told her about it. I was living in Colorado. She was down in Texas, but she lived in the same town that my parents are from. Dude, when I saw her, I was like, well, what is she? Because I saw some of the other people online, and I was just like, when I saw her, I was like, what is she doing on here? Like, she's gorgeous, you know?
You thought you were getting catfished?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
I did for sure.
Wow.
And then when I talked to her, she was just amazing. So loving, so caring, so behind this.
She was on board right away.
Right away. And I sent a couple pictures, but Emily, her first camping trip ever was in the Congo with the pygmies, sleeping in a twig and leaf hut, laying on the dirt.
Baptism of fire there. Do you what kind of wildlife?
Roaches crawled across her neck.
Damn.
And she was still cool with it. If you can get through that, you're going to be all right.
Yeah.
She's freaked out.
You get some crazy bugs and crazy wildlife.
She loves me a lot.
She would have to.
She loves me a lot. Loves them a lot too. And so
now you guys are married.
Yeah, we're married now. We were engaged when she came out there. She's lived in the forest for 3 months.
Wow.
Yeah.
What kind of
I was
wildlife?
there for over a year and a half.
What kind of wildlife did you see? Is there a lot of wildlife? Like a lot of snakes, a lot of.
Yeah, there's something called a large spotted genet, which is kind of cool. It's this weird, funky looking animal that looks like a cross between a mongoose and a baby leopard.
Damn.
Sounds awesome.
A large
Are they friendly?
Genet, and it's Genet.
The answer is no, Brandon.
No, they're not. They're not friendly.
They're not friendly?
No, they'll come in the middle of the night and steal any of the pygmies' chickens if they have some chickens and take them out. So they kill them and eat them. And then
what do they kill with?
Bushmeat, spears and arrows. And dude, it's crazy because the arrows.
No, I figured maybe guns. You know.
Yeah. Well,
spears and arrows.
Yeah, the arrows. They asked me one of my first times there. I was talking with hunters, really getting involved, saying like, "Dude, show me, like, teach me."
Yeah.
And they had these wicked-looking arrows with crazy-looking metal, and they were like, "Which one of these do you think you would kill antelope with?" And it was between something that looked kind of like your Starbucks straw with a point, and it was just wood, or the wicked-looking one that has the metal. I'm like, oh, the metal one, right? No, because the wooden one that's just whittled down, they dip in this poison that they make with berries and roots and these kind of leaves and this like fermented stuff.
Sounds like
and
a nice tea.
they kill elephants with those
Wow,
things.
jeez. And it doesn't.
Not really today, but their ancestors.
Yeah,
and
but it
everything
doesn't
else
get
would
into
kill
the meat. That's what I've always been curious
Yeah, I know. I
about.
think they cook it out.
Wow.
I think that's what happens.
So what? So is there a risk of animal life out there? Like, are they worried while they're hunting?
There's
what are we talking about here?
Leopards and not so much in the forest, but there's lions. I've almost stepped on a black mamba. Black mamba is the fastest and like second most venomous snake in the world, I think.
Yeah, you're going to sleep.
20 minutes you're dead.
20
minutes you're dead. And almost stepped in it. It was in the hut right next to me.
What?
I heard the commotion going on. I come out and a pygmy guy like slaps me on the stomach and stops me from stepping on the black mamba because it came in their hut to take an egg.
Did they kill him and eat him?
They kill him, and certain pygmies will and certain pygmies won't. Depends on what tribe or what village, because some of them believe the snakes to be like ancestors. Mostly pythons or like their grandfather if they see it and stuff.
Oh wow!
One guy killed his grandfather. Other people were like, "Oh, it's bad mojo or bad juju."
Meanwhile, his belly's all full.
And but he had come back to his catch. He had caught a bunch of fish, and he comes back and a python ate them all. And so he just grabbed a stick and started killing the python. And afterwards, they're like, "You killed your grandfather." He's like, "He took my food." And they're like, "Your grandfather was hungry." And he's like, "But I'm hungry and I'm feeding my kids."
Yeah, that's right. I'd be like, "That's not my grandfather. It's a snake."
Right.
They're primarily carnivorous, right? They don't eat a lot of.
Well, they eat whatever they can find, man, because they're hunter gatherers. But we're trying to give them another solution with the land they have now. Now you can cultivate your land and like go out and hunt. We're cool with that. Like that's part of your culture. We want to preserve that. We want to sustain that. We're actually working now to get 500 acres as a hunting reserve. That should probably happen within the next 6 months.
Religion are they mainly out there? Is there a faith?
It varies, but I forget what they call it, animist or something like that.
Yeah, it's an animist.
But they believe in like their ancestors and hosting in trees and animals and the forest. And there's also a god named Genji, or I think it's Genji, but Genji is a thing that he will possess other sorts of like basically they wear leaves around their heads whenever they do certain ceremonies to like keep him away, because he's like a bad god that will come and like attack you.
And do you go there and do you try to preach Christianity on them, or?
I just try to go and love them, man.
That's probably the least of their worries.
Just go and love them, and like if they want to know my faith, I'll tell them. But that's not first and foremost.
So you're there to do practical charity work.
So your faith hasn't wavered at all after seeing these young kids die and stuff like that.
I would say it's increased.
Really?
Yeah. And I know it's tough, man. I know it's tough to like rationalize, but without a doubt, it's increased.
See all this suffering.
Yeah, but to see prayers, my personal prayers being answered, like I didn't think I could help at all.
Don't you feel? Do you feel like
land, water, food is happening?
Yeah.
Do you feel like giving the way you do has helped with your addiction and issues? They always say that, like,
without a doubt.
Yeah, some of the best way to deal with addiction is to bond with like other people and to actually be in a position of service.
That makes sense.
Yeah, that's why in AA they tell you to sponsor somebody and help somebody.
So now you have this big fight coming up Friday.
Yeah,
it's on Friday, correct?
Jeez, yeah,
so you have this, right?
Oh, dude, you're getting after
Friday
it.
night.
Friday night,
dude.
Spike
going
TV,
at it.
man.
Whoa.
It's a big fight. So
he's all mellow.
Did you see?
I'm ready.
What do you think he was gonna do? Shadowbox?
I don't know. It'd be funny. Just
ever hung out with the fighter?
There's gonna be a lot more aggro. And
so have you? Did you get the fire back right away when you went into camp? Because you can't go from the Congo and jump straight into.
Well, bro, I basically didn't train for basically 5 full years, 4 years and 8 months. Like I didn't hit mitts, I didn't hit a bag, I didn't roll, I didn't wrestle, I didn't do anything for like 4 years.
So how did it feel that first workout?
Like I wish I would have been training.
Really?
Yeah. Dude, I was so like I was in shape in a way of like I could hike through the jungle, I could drill the wells, which is manual drilling. Mm-hmm. So we're drilling. We can go 150 foot deep, and it's by
that's insane.
By grabbing these wrenches and just you're just going down. So you get like a huge bicep and a huge tricep.
Yeah, that's different than fighting.
Yeah.
Training,
Yeah, absolutely, without a doubt. And bad nutrition and lots of sickness like to recover from and everything else. But getting ready for the fight has been a great experience.
How long have you been training?
In fight camp, I was in Congo about 10 weeks ago.
So you trained for about 10
No.
weeks?
I had trained for maybe 2, 3, 4 months before that, and I had gone to the Congo to celebrate the 20th water well and to kind of fan the flames of the team.
And then got a fight.
And then got a fight, and I thought it was going to be September 19th on the Dynamite card that they're co-promoting with Florian.
Ortiz and Florian. It's sick.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's going to be a great show. And I thought I was going to be on that, but Bellator's been awesome, and Scott Coker, like, dude, I like the guy a lot.
Love Scott Coker.
Yeah.
Now, your story's so great, I feel like the UFC or Bellator, whoever would be all over this. So when you decided to get back into fighting, how did you decide? Did Bellator just jump on you, or was the UFC not even offering?
UFC offered and talked to my management, and dude, honestly, I mean, Joe's the reason we've drilled 2 of the wells out there. Yeah, Joe Rogan.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Joe, not Silva, sorry.
Okay.
Joe
Silva?
No,
damn.
No.
He's actually doing something nice?
Yeah, I would. Joe Rogan was the reason 2 water wells are drilled in Congo.
For sure. He's the best.
Yeah.
But so
Nate Marquardt, dude, Nate the Great.
Nate the Great.
He donated, he probably doesn't want the props, but he
awesome.
Donated 10% of his win or performance of the night.
Nice, man.
So that
Nate's
was
a very religious guy, so there it is.
Well, he's a good guy besides religious.
Dude,
yeah, he's a great guy. He's a great guy.
So with when you're a free agent, UFC offered, Bellator offered. How did you decide on this?
Because a lot of World Series,
because the game's changing, right?
Yeah.
The game's changing. There's a little bit of competition. Yeah, UFC's still the big dog in the room.
Yeah,
but with the thing Bellator is doing, and now with this Reebok deal, we see a lot of free agents kind of siding with Bellator because the opportunities now. So for you, I don't think it's so much as a money issue, right? It's more about notoriety and getting the name, not notoriety, but getting the message out there.
Yeah, well, this thing, I'm like, any win bonus I ever get 100% go into this. Like, I'm not going to ask other people to give if
you're not giving,
right? And I'm giving my time and my health and other stuff, but I'm going to give, and I'm going to try to give more than anybody else is. At least percentage wise.
And that's dope. That's great. So how did you decide between UFC and Bellator?
Oh yeah, sorry.
For sure, answer that.
We went, and I had 3 sit-down meetings with Scott at the Bellator, Spike TV, Viacom offices
in Orange County.
Mm-hmm. Santa Monica, I think. And,
Santa Monica?
Yeah.
I didn't know it was Santa Monica.
Yeah.
Damn, we're neighbors.
Yeah. And so then I went there. He gave me his time. And well, the cool thing at first was he had sent out the video, like the Kickstarter video that's live now. It's like the number 5 Kickstarter.
We'll blast it out
right now.
Yeah.
And but he had been sending that out to like family and friends, just because he's like, look at this guy that used to fight. Look what he's doing now.
Wow.
And he started sending it out to people. And I heard about that. And I'm like, dude.
So that swayed you a little bit.
Yeah, without a doubt.
So did you meet with the UFC, or they just made you an offer?
They made me an offer. And
but did you meet with anyone or no?
No, because it was the regular, and I get it. I haven't fought in 5 years, the regular run-of-the-mill kind of offer. And so and Bellator was stepping up to the plate and saying, we want to highlight your story. We don't want it to get lost in the
it's a no-brainer.
In the 560 guys
for sure
under contract.
I know, it's a great story. I mean, it's
amazing.
what we invest in as fans. Like, oh, look at that human being, that dude who went off and did that. And now
I'm surprised they find an opponent for you to fight.
Yeah.
I'd be like, I'm not fighting him.
Boo.
He's doing what? No, I'm good. I'm good, man.
Fucking boo.
It's like fighting Jesus.
Doesn't
I'm
matter,
going to pass,
Hey, man, don't you fucking hit him.
What kind of ass clown
You put a
signed up
hand
for
on
this
that
fight?
fucking. If you mess his beard up, I fucking will throw things at you.
How do you hype this fight?
Yeah.
I mean, if you're your opponent, how do you talk shit in the pre-fight interview?
Who are you fighting?
Don't
Hold on.
beat me. You're gonna feel
Who are you
terrible.
fighting?
Yeah.
Who are you
Just
fighting?
kidding.
What's the guy's name?
His name's Josh Burns.
Boo! Boo!
I mean, what's Josh Burns say? You know, I know he's
for
been,
no reason. He might be great.
I know you've been in the Congo, man, but I'm gonna kick your ass. It's like, what do you?
Wait, what's his name again?
Josh Burns.
Boo! Fucking boo!
Yeah, I know.
Sorry, man.
It's
Sorry, I'm a huge Justin Wren fan, you guys.
I can't believe they found an
that guy's
opponent.
name
though.
around me.
I can't believe
Fucking boo!
they for sure.
Sorry, bro.
calm
I
down,
get excited, bro. Fucking guy. If he puts one fucking hand on you, I swear to God.
Do you feel pressure going into this fight because you're fighting for so much?
I would say I feel more pressure than ever and less pressure than ever.
Yeah, because you're better than that guy.
Well, no. In all seriousness, no, because you have a lot of pressure on you because you're fighting for more.
Yeah,
than,
I'm not fighting for myself. There's more at stake than ever. It's not about me.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, and so, man, I want to win this fight more than I've ever wanted to win anything.
Do me a favor. When you guys are caught in the cage and you're clenched up in the cage, when you're clenched up on the cage, can you just whisper in his ear, do you hate pygmies? You're such a dick, dude. I'm not even doing this for me. I'm doing it
for real.
Yeah.
So, but what? So you. Let's say all goes according to plan. You beat this guy. What's the plan? You want to be world champion? Is that the goal?
The goal is to be Bellator champ, world champ. And so, and I know.
I like your odds, my man. Obviously, I know you well. I've been a training partner for years. I like your odds in Bellator for sure.
Thank you, bro. I think I can make a real statement.
Legit run. I agree. 100%.
Justin, did you start as a wrestler and then?
Yeah. Started as a wrestler, won some national championships.
Greco.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
High school nationals in Greco.
Oh, you just figured out he's a legit fighter. Oh, this
I
is
know
so
he's a legit
cute.
fighter.
This is so cute.
I know he's a legit
you just
fighter.
He's the guy who played grab ass in the Congo.
Hey, man. So Greco is your
lived at the
thing.
Olympic Training Center for there.
Damn.
My high school coach was Kenny Monday and Kendall
I know
Cross,
Kenny Monday.
both
Kenny Monday is
Olympic
my
gold medals.
generation,
Yeah.
bro. A little younger.
So Kenny's going to be in my corner for this fight.
Wow.
I'm pumped about that. It's his first fight to corner me.
Who's your
team takedown?
Kenny was
Team takedown.
Yeah, my team takedown and with like Johnny Hendricks, Jared Rochelle, Mark Lehman is the head coach.
And
He'll be in my
Mark
corner.
Mark Lehman's in your corner?
Yeah,
and he's been your
He'll be
grappling
my head
coach?
corner. Yeah.
Ooh, trouble,
been my
man.
grappling
Who's your
coach.
striking coach?
His name's Stephen Wright, and he's a great kickboxing
He's at a team
coach.
takedown.
He's the comedian, Steve Wright.
And then I've been doing a lot of my striking with Big Josh and Trevor. And
Big Josh, why do you have a
Brian
black guy? He put his hands on you?
He fought.
You put your... Hey, man.
He fought Friday.
Where's the love,
3-time
bro?
All-American. He
Yeah,
knocked
Big
him out.
Josh.
Oh, you
looks
just
like-
fought Friday?
Yeah.
Knocked the guy out?
3-time All-American
Dude,
wrestler.
Big Josh is a training partner too, man. I used to hate
Yeah,
sparring this
he
guy.
looks like you could punch him square in the face, and he'd just be like, ah.
He just looks at you. And
That's
his
how
jab-
it goes.
Yeah.
Both of them, though.
Yeah.
Both of them.
couple of
Yeah.
thick son of a bitches.
Let's get to some fan questions.
Let me just drop a knowledge because I want to do this real quick.
Yeah.
We have a segment called Dropping Knowledge, and now it's time for because we have this thing. And it's just, I just want to kind of piggyback, and I'm only doing it because you talked about having a sort of a conversion and having an enlightenment, and you thought, oh, this might sound crazy, but I saw a forest.
Yeah.
And then I had this. Well, we were talking about how in the human brain, they've identified 300 genes that can point to a form of mental retardation, but we've never found genes that actually can point to intelligence or above or average intelligence. So it may be that, in fact, this guy John Katz emailed me, who's a fan, and said, in fact, if you look at the human brain, it might be that that it depends on, like, healthy brains might be capable of everything. And it's a question of whether or not you open those circuits.
Those pathways?
Yeah. So two examples, and I had forgotten about one, which was Oliver Sacks, who's a neurologist, talked about, was a guy named Josh Padgett in 1994, I think. No, actually, it was 2002. Gets the shit beaten out of him savagely. He's a furniture salesman. He sells furniture. Wasn't an academic at all. Gets the shit beat out of him outside a furniture store. Comes to, and about 3 months later starts drawing these really intricate geometric patterns. And he starts seeing kind of mathematical equations and spatial relationships. A physicist sees him drawing something. He's just drawing it. And the physicist goes, dude, you know you're doing high math right now? And he goes, I am? And he goes, yeah. He goes, yeah, I keep having these mathematical thoughts because I'm thinking in fractals. And it turns out he is now in 2015, he is a kind of a math genius.
It's called Good Will Hunting.
Had never taken math. Had never taken math.
The plot of Good Will Hunting?
Yes, it should be. Had never taken math. Gets the shit beat out of him. So then, let's keep going. A guy named Tony Ciora, who in 1994, he's a neurologist. He's an orthopedic surgeon.
Okay.
He gets struck by lightning in 1994. About when he comes to, about 2 months later, or maybe a week later, or whatever, he starts hearing music, and then he becomes obsessed with music to the point where he's never played an instrument in his life. All he wants to do is play the piano. Cut to 2007, from 1994, he is now a master pianist and a composer, and gives his first huge concert. Amazing. He still practices orthopedic surgery, but he is a high-level composer / musician, and he's obsessed with music. And Oliver Sacks says, can we study your brain? They did MRIs, they found nothing. Found nothing. But something about that electric charge went through his cheek and not his foot.
Wow.
It opened a pathway, and he began to hear and compose incredible music, high-level classical piano. So it's very interesting to me that whatever was going on with you, and maybe you had this sort of awakening where you were kind of meditating and thinking, maybe you opened some kind of a pathway that said, hey, I have something to offer. I have something to give, and maybe it was compassion.
Maybe
so
my
it doesn't
right
sound
hand
crazy.
opened up a pathway.
There you go.
Maybe me punch you in the face.
It might have been Brendan Schaub.
It could have been Big Josh. Could have been Big Shane.
Hey, Congo, you're welcome for Brendan Schaub. Brendan's the real hero here.
All the drugs and all the punches.
Could have been a lot of drugs.
Yeah. So I just want to piggyback on what you started this podcast with was this may sound crazy, but in fact, science would suggest it's not so crazy. And there are a lot of examples of where your brain gets rewired to do something beautiful, whether it's creating incredible math, whether it's creating incredible music, or going to the fucking Congo to make a difference. So
thank God you wrapped that up.
you see that? See how I brought that full
Because for
circle?
a second there, it was rough. What do you got, Ev?
I thought it was great.
Yeah, it's dope, man. That's
Thank you,
insane.
No, I never knew that.
Yeah, crazy.
I'm sure there's more cases than
Yeah,
that,
there are.
right?
There are a lot of more cases, but it's crazy to think that your brain can be rewired by a traumatic event like
People are
lightning
gonna be
or
trying
a
to get
beating.
struck by lightning now.
Yeah.
Just to get smarter.
But to go
It's
from a
bad idea.
furniture salesman to a high-level math genius after getting the shit kicked out of you, or struck by lightning and you're composing high-level classical music
That's
on the
weird.
piano? I don't even understand.
What do you
Anyway,
got, Ev?
God exists. That's what I think.
All right, so we got a bunch of fan questions for you, Justin. So
Yeah, great, man.
we'll start knocking a couple of these out. First question comes from Eric Young. He wants to know, how did you feel about the ice bucket challenge, especially after how rare and highly valued clean water is over there?
ALS. Is that just a whole waste of time? Now that you go from the Congo to here, do you just shake your head at people?
Sometimes.
Like I was pissed that a bug hit my Porsche this morning. I was like, God
Why me?
why? Why?
Yeah. No, the ice bucket challenge thing, I thought it was a cool concept with like raising awareness.
Yeah,
that was cool.
Raise money
But
too.
yeah, and raising a ton of money for research, all that.
It became like this pop culture thing.
Yeah,
like,
yeah, and it's almost like that in the writing X's on your hands, and I mean doing other stuff like to raise awareness. That's some cool stuff. But where does it go from there?
Yeah,
and
is
so
it making
making
a
sure
difference?
it makes a difference. And I think the research stuff like that does. But then when I personally saw the wasting of clean water, it kind of was like, like, you know how many people could have drank. But at the same time, we have it here in this country. It's available here. They don't there. We got to get it there.
Yeah.
And so it was a mix of emotions for who was Evan that was asking that question?
Eric, yeah.
Eric. It was a mix of emotions because I liked part of it and I didn't like the other. If that makes sense.
I think a lot of people felt that way.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. I had a couple friends that started doing the dirty water challenge because they knew about my story. And so one guy had his name's Jeff. He's the reason he ran after me whenever I was going through my tough time and helped pull me out of it. And anyways, he had a tractor dumped on him of dirty water because he's like, I'm not wasting any of this clean water. Yeah.
Well, a lot of things too is like we had a bunch of buddies or whatever, they do it and they film it. It's like, cool, man, but did you donate?
Yeah.
Like we did one on Venice Beach where Callen poured a bucket of ice water on me when I was benching 315. But we donated.
Yeah,
like,
great.
Yeah, you know, we make a difference.
Right.
But a lot of people were just doing it and they weren't contributing the money.
Yeah, and that's how they say they helped.
Yes.
It
so I
goes
just
back
don't
to
think
how
that
helpless
helps.
a lot of us feel, though. I mean, I don't think that irony was lost on a lot of people. Where we're like, I poured water on myself. I know. At least I'm doing this. You know, we kind of. A lot of people got bullied into it.
Yeah.
I did. I was like, oh shit.
And challenged by all the different people. So
Yeah.
I didn't get challenged. I didn't do it. But I don't mean anyone that did was doing anything wrong. So.
What else you got, Ev?
All right. Next question is, did you ever try to impart any of your martial arts skills or knowledge on any of the pygmies?
I've had some wrestling matches, not with the pygmies.
You could beat up a whole village. Be honest.
Yeah.
I've held a bunch of people, but with the martial arts, our well drilling team has some big dudes, a guy that's 6'5" and everything else, and so sometimes we'd throw on a wrestling match right next to the water well we're drilling.
Really?
In between the breaks, we're sitting there, we're eating our beans and rice, and we got to get back to work. But beforehand, we want to goof around, and so we'll have takedowns out in the forest and have the whole village come around and do some takedowns.
Does it put things in perspective? Because these pygmies could give two shits about fighting or the UFC or Instagram or any of this stuff. Like to you, is it just kind of it gives you a different kind of perspective?
Yeah, I live in like two completely different worlds. Like
night and
day, absolutely. So there they don't have electricity, running water, clean water, a cell phone. Yeah, so they don't know. Whenever there's times that I've taken my cell phone and just turned it on to where they can see themselves, and they grab it, and it's just the craziest looks in their eyes whenever they're seeing themselves, because some of them don't even have mirrors.
You're not getting reception out there.
So they don't know what they look like.
Not really. I mean, some of them know what they look like from
water.
Water reflections and stuff like that.
It's crazy.
But then one of the cool things we do is actually you might even have it open right there. Yeah, in the middle. You see the middle? I give them on the right, middle on the right.
Right here.
Yeah, that's a picture of her, and that's the first time she ever seen a picture of herself.
That's incredible.
And so that's one of the best gifts I can give them is, so instead of coming in, showing up, blowing up and blowing out of there and taking the pictures for myself, we take the pictures so we can give it to them, and now they have family pictures, and we laminate them so if it rains, like they have a family.
Can we get this book,
stuff.
The Fight for the Forgotten by Justin?
Is this out right now?
It's not out right now. It's crazy. They gave me that today. It's the rushed order. There's only 2 in print right now, but on September 15th, they're out.
September 15th, Barnes & Noble, Amazon, everywhere.
It's on Amazon
Fight for
now.
the Forgotten, Justin Wren. How a mixed martial artist stopped fighting for himself and started fighting for others.
And it's on Amazon right now?
It's on Amazon right now. Yeah, and it's half price right now. Whenever September 15th, it goes up to full price to $24, so it's only $12.99 right now.
Get it while it's hot.
Go to YouTube too and watch Justin, man. I found it very emotional.
What else you got, Ev?
All right, can you tell us about a scary moment you experienced in the Congo and how that compares to the natural fear of stepping into the cage fight?
Scary moments. I got a few that I could rattle off. I saw a man get killed.
How?
Mob justice. So it was these drunk guys that accused this guy that turned out the next day he wasn't even a thief. They just accused him of being a thief. I don't know if they had beef or what, but whenever you accuse someone of being a thief, people just pounce, and they try to stop you. And so they pounced on this guy, and I'm serious that it was at least 50 people that were kicking and punching. And whenever I came up on the guy, because I wanted to get involved, but my translator, my right-hand man, one of my best friends, Laringa, he grabbed me and pulled me away. F.A., they just call me F.A. Osa, F.A. And he's trying to pull me away, say, you can't go over there. But you would want to step in and help the guy, him. You know. But
they'd for sure kill both of us.
But whenever I got, without a doubt.
They're going to stomp our faces.
They would.
Is that what they did to the guy?
Yeah, and he was bent up like a pretzel. I mean, I've never seen someone so contorted in my life. He was just a lifeless body. Mm-hmm. Our well drilling guys were coming with $15,000 of well drilling equipment in the back of a trunk. We hired a taxi to bring them from Uganda to Congo. And they got in a wreck, and it was a Congolese guy that was driving, and he bailed, ran away. And our guys had to run, flee, was hid in a house. This woman literally saved their lives by hiding them, because the whole town was looking for them, had tires. They were going to put the tires around them and set them on fire.
Jeez, man.
And they started pelting, and the little governmental officials and government soldiers had to come and save our guys in the little hut that they were in, because people were throwing bricks through there and had little torches and other stuff. One of my wife's first nights in the forest, a rebel group came in the village next to us. And so we woke up the next morning, and my guys tell me what's going on, and we got to get across the river because we don't know exactly where the rebel group is. We heard that they left the same way they came. They had killed 8 people. They had raped a bunch of the women. They had stolen everything. And all we knew is we're on the same side of the river as them. But if we can get across the river, it's a better chance. So we crossed the river, and my wife's like, why are we rushing? Why are we going so fast? And I was like, we just want to get our day started.
You don't want to scare?
No, not at all. We just want to start off, early today, and let's get across the river. And so there's little canoes that are dug out of a just tree, and we're on these little, but they're for the pygmies. And so, you move an inch and you feel like it's going to flip. And it's the Ituri River, which connects to the Congo River, which is the deepest, most powerful river in the world. Whoa. And so we're trying to go across this football field or more of river. And you have to aim like way north to end way south because of the rushing water.
No thanks.
Yeah.
Crocs in that
Emily,
water or no?
Emily, my wife, there can be in that spot.
Not my favorite place.
Not I haven't seen them, but
a lot of dangers.
Yeah, and so we're crossing this, and Emily asked me. She was a lifeguard on the swim team and stuff like that, and she's like, we get across, and all of a sudden it sinks in with her. She's like, we know how to swim. Does everyone else? And I'm like, we're the 2 that know how to swim. Yeah. And all of a sudden her lifeguard instincts pop up, and she's thinking about everybody else because they're all coming. There's like 40 people that are trying to come across.
Do you ever think about leaving your wife at home instead of not going to Congo? Has that ever crossed your mind?
Gets lonely in the forest, brother.
It does get lonely in the forest. Yeah. But
I get that. However, when rebel forces are threatening to kill everybody, I want to leave her behind.
And see, that's kind of where some of our faith comes in and stuff, because we think that they're important, so much so that if we got to put ourselves at risk to love them, that's what we'll do. But at the same time, we want to be smart, intelligent,
you have to be
strategic.
Those rebel forces don't give a fuck.
Yeah, exactly. And they call the Congo. This is BBC and New York Times have called it, both of these, the rape capital of the world. Yep. And hell on earth for a woman. Yep. And so
the worst sexual violence probably ever recorded. Actually.
Absolutely. They say that in 2012 there was a stat that came out that 1 woman every 1 minute is raped in the Congo. Mm-hmm.
Literally.
In just Eastern Congo too, where all those 38 warring rebel groups are.
Nice guys.
This is at home.
Yeah, she's come 3 months, and we were very, even though it sounds like there was a very close call. We go to places that are off the road, 3 hours off the beaten path, and when we get there, we're safe. Yeah. We're good.
Did you hear anything about they did do an initiative where they got a team of special forces guys who allied themselves, I think, with the Congolese army to go and hunt Joseph
100.
Kony.
Yeah, 100 guys.
Yeah.
Like
Catch 'em
Marines
and
and
still didn't
stuff.
They never caught him, but they actually conscripted former rebels who are really good at hunting human beings. Is what they do.
Yeah.
And
They still can't find him.
And he's a hard
but
guy.
Just
to find.
balls deep in the jungle?
Supposedly they've whittled down that army to like only like 200 soldiers or something. So, which is great because they were, and they're still doing terrible stuff. But
yeah, but they got a lot of those fuckers.
What else you got, Ev?
We'll just do one more quick one, and we'll wrap it up. What would you give what pygmy nicknames would you give Brendan and Brian?
Interesting.
I would give Brendan Bajanji.
What's that mean?
I don't know what it means, but he's one of my favorite dudes.
Sounds awesome.
Bajanji.
He's literally the best pygmy dancer I've ever known.
Makes sense.
I'm a pretty fucking good
We've been to
dancer,
the club
Justin.
before.
Yeah,
We've
been out.
Yeah.
Obviously,
We got
Justin
some
hasn't seen me work on a dance floor, so.
Oh, let me see. No.
How do you say
I will.
kid in
I
pygmy?
will.
How do you say kid? Matoto.
There you go, Matoto.
I like Matoto.
Pretty
Matoto.
basic.
Matoto. There you
Matoto.
go.
Matoto.
Matoto.
Yeah.
You're not
If
saying
you
it
want
right.
to say
Matoto.
Matoto Yango, that's my kid.
Matoto Yango. See how I have my accent?
So
Or
where,
Matoto Yako, your
where
kid.
can they donate before we get you out of here, my friend?
On fightfortheforgotten.org, we have actually a lot of cool stuff on there. You can donate. You can become like a one-time donor. You can subscribe or like do a monthly donation if you wanted. You can get the book. Directs you right to Amazon. You can go to the Kickstarter from there that has it's awesome. It's a 5-minute little trailer for the doc.
Blast all this out on our end.
You want to watch the man fight?
Oh yeah,
Friday.
August 28th,
Friday,
August
this
28th,
Friday on
Friday.
Spike TV.
Don't sleep.
8 p.m. Central. Correct?
Is there
That
anyone?
guy's going for a ride.
Is there anyone in America not rooting for you? Maybe just this guy's wife and
Josh.
family. That's about
Josh
it.
Burns
Just the
and his
rebel
wife.
groups. The
He's
rebel
got, like,
groups
6
are
kids.
for Josh and
That's true. ISIS and the rebel groups are for Josh, but you should be all right, my man.
Yeah, I hear Josh is a good dude, but
I'm
Yeah,
sure
it doesn't
I'm sure he is.
matter.
Doesn't matter though.
Doesn't matter.
We probably
Doesn't
would
matter.
love him. We'd probably love him, Josh. If you're
I'll love
listening,
him
we'd
after.
probably love you. But
Probably
afterwards.
not.
But in the meantime,
Probably not.
on August 28th, I'm going to be in front of Spike TV going, boo! Fucking boo! And then every time they show you, I'll be like, yay! Wow.
Anyways,
On that note,
wow, that was
really inspiring.
yeah, that was.
You're
terrible.
doing God's work, my friend.
You're the best, my man.
Thank you very much.
At the Big
thank you,
Pygmy.
man.
Is that
at the Big Pygmy on Twitter and Instagram. Also, our Facebook is just Fight for the Forgotten. I have a public one that's just Justin Wren.
awesome,
But,
man? Like
You're
I said,
making a
we'll-
big
we'll
difference,
blast
bro.
on our end.
Thank you
You're
so
the best,
much.
man.
love
This is the
Thank
Fight of
you
the Kid
guys.
with the Big Pygmy. We're out.